All right, let's fade out the music, shall we? I have some things on my mind today, and I want to address them right away while I think they are the most relevant. Let's go live here. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex or Johnny Boy. Welcome to Average People Talking. Today is an episode prompted by some things in the news that we can't ignore. Things that aren't being properly talked about or discussed. The Middle East is a powder keg. And a powder keg, is a term that started being used in the political world. I wonder if the Wikipedia talks about the history on this. It became a metaphorical term that I guess it was used as the powder keg of Europe. But basically, it's a barrel full of gunpowder that could explode. Why is the Middle East a powder keg? That's a complicated question with a lot of answers. But the immediate answer, which I'll take first, and which is actually not the point of the show today, the immediate answer, and the very important answer, is multiple countries with large armies, some of them nuclear, are increasing tensions between each other. Pakistan and Iran, tensions just flared up immediately. This was as of 2 days ago. Iran bombed, allegedly targeting militants that killed 2 people. This is serious. As a result of this, Pakistan got upset, slammed them over the strike, and pulled their people back to all their diplomats, all their ambassadors, kicked Iranian diplomats out of Pakistan. Tensions are high. If you haven't been paying attention, if you've really been under a rock, you will not know about what's going on between Israel and Palestine. But I want to address what's going on there more clearly, because this is the lack of lens that I think most people, if you come to my show, this is something that you won't get from mainstream media. And if you don't watch a lot of media in general, you won't really understand the seriousness of it. Maybe you think, well, it's a little war, but those 2 countries have been fighting for a long time. Whatever. This is whatever. Let's be clear. Lack of access to clean drinking water is a death sentence for the people of Gaza. The catastrophic lack of clean drinking water sources in Gaza City and the northern areas of the Gaza Strip has left Palestinians there facing a horrifying tragedy akin to the death sentence. Euromed Human Rights Monitor said in a statement issued Monday, cited the war crime as further evidence of the genocide Israel has been carrying out. Prior to Israel's 100-day-long genocide, the Gaza Strip, one of the world's most densely populated areas, was already experiencing a crippling crisis in clean drinking water supplies. More than 90% of the population, or more than 2.3 million people, were living in declining economic environment with the barest necessities. Gaza City's main reservoirs, Al-Balad and Ar Rimel, were completely destroyed last weekend during an Israel bulldozing operation in the area, the Euromed Monitor team confirmed. Al-Balad Reservoir, which houses a water well, a warehouse for water line maintenance equipment, and administrative offices for the city's water department, and Al Ramil Reservoir, which includes the sanitation department's offices and warehouse for sewage network maintenance equipment, have both been bulldozed during the Israeli ground incursion. You will hear people say that Israel is just trying to find Hamas. They're just trying to kill terrorists. That's really all that's going on here. What do terrorists have to do with bulldozing the city's only 2 fresh drinking water reservoirs? And the answer is nothing. The world stage is now blaming us because we have endlessly funded Israel. We've provided them the military support they have asked for at every turn. This has been going on for forever. Here's one picture of some of the carnage going on in Gaza. Here's another story. Israel not only prevents entry of aid into Gaza, but also kill those who try to receive it. What does that have to do with Hamas? These are civilians in civilian clothing being murdered. Listen to this. Out of nowhere, an Israeli army tank emerged from behind a mound of sand and opened fire at random. MD told the Euromed Monitor team. We were attacked by 2 quadcopters at the same time. I observed a pair of them. Everyone in front was hurt or killed. In a matter of seconds, at least 50 people were killed and numerous others injured. For trying to get help. On the 100th day of Gaza genocide, 100,000 Palestinians have been killed, missing, or wounded. A total of 31,497 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have been killed as of today. Euromed Monitor estimated. Euromed Monitor is a human rights organization, neutral, and so don't believe the Israeli numbers. But even if you believe the Israeli numbers, they're bad enough. They're bad enough. Of those killed in the Israeli air and artillery attacks on the Strip, 28,951, 92%, were civilians, including 12,345 children, 6,471 women, 295 health personnel, 41 civil defense personnel, and 113 journalists. Meanwhile, 61,079 individuals have been injured, hundreds of them critically. Now, how would these people get treatment? How might they get treatment? They can't, because Israel's also been limiting or prohibiting medications from reaching injured and ill people. Go to another page on Euromed Monitor. And I'm looking for it here. I'm not finding it. But they are continuing to target hospitals. This is ethnic cleansing. This is genocide. Funded by the United States. And the important part of today's show, and why I chose the title I chose, it's all in the name of God. All of this in the name of God. And why does that matter? This matters because for a long time, people like me have been stating that religious sectarian violence is the primary likelihood of the end of human civilization. People like me have been saying that until we kill God, we will not know peace. And we cite all the evidence of the world. The fact that secular countries are the most peaceful. The fact that most of the world's history of violence has been religiously driven. Nowhere. Here's ground news. Here's the stories about Iran. If I search Israel right now, okay, as a topic on ground news, if I look up Israel-Palestinian conflict, you will not find a single news article willing to paint this as religious sectarian violence. Now, the last great journalist that we had that had the courage to do that might have been Christopher Hitchens. You know, you'll find them on YouTube. Some of them are willing to be brave enough to call it what it is. We want to paint this entire thing as a geopolitical conflict. We're not willing to call out the actual problem. Why does the U.S. give so much money and aid to Israel? Because if we dared to stop, the Christians would lose their minds. They're God's chosen people, after all. That's what we're told. Can't do it. The Christian and Jewish financial lobbies in the United States have tremendous power. They fund political campaigns to buy them off. How do you need to know this? I don't have this article pulled up, but Bernie Sanders organized and called for a vote that said, let's do a report on human rights violations in Israel, in the Gaza Strip. And if we either fail to do the report, or if the report comes back showing that they have failed, then we'll cut off the funding and the weapons to Israel. 11 senators voted to do the report. 39 have said, I'm going to turn a blind eye to genocide. Don't care. We stand with Israel. We stand with Israel. This is what we're standing with. This is what we're standing with. This. And this. Getting the feeling like we're the bad guys? Getting the feeling like maybe the United States is culpable in some pretty evil things? In the name of God. There are Christians right now in my circle. If I went to talk to my mother about this, she wants this. She wants this. This is good. Because the only way you can justify this is if you think you have divine permission. If you think you have divine permission, that the right hand of God has blessed you to do this, it's the only way you can make this seem okay. As the world pushes closer and closer towards the brink of killing itself, because some of these religious zealots have nuclear weapons. Some of these religious zealots won't back down for any reason. And we give them power. And you might say, well, Alex, it is geopolitical. It is geopolitical. And maybe it's the people, right? We've let these extremists get power. For a long time, Bibi Netanyahu didn't seem like an extremist. He sure does now. What matters it? That it's the people. If the engine they can use to gain public support and avoid condemnation is the protection of we're not allowed to criticize their religion. The one thing that all of these leaders in these countries where this is happening have in common, and the one thing that all of these faiths have in common, is that there is more evidence that Elvis Presley is still alive than the evidence for the existence of their gods. Why is there more evidence that Elvis Presley is still alive? Well, for one, he existed in the first place. So at least I have evidence of someone that could be alive. We don't have that evidence for Yahweh or Allah. Until we normalize the ability to ridicule someone in public for uttering a belief that is as irrational, quite frankly, as stupid, as a belief in Yahweh or Allah. And we make it equally valid to criticize that as it is to criticize the belief in the boogeyman. We will not progress as a species. And many writers, many famous people, many people who have dared to take that line of reasoning have been accused of being bigots. This must be racism. You just don't like brown people who are Islamic. That's a lot of that got levied against Sam Harris for his criticisms of Islam. Israel right now is literally doing a racist genocide. And if you want to go on TikTok and watch videos of them being proud of it, you can see them kissing their Star of Davids the whole way. Who's racist? Who's fundamentally sectarian? I remember a conversation with my mom once where she genuinely floated the idea of nuking the entire Islamic world, as that would be justice in the name of her God. This is the kind of evil that religion allows you to believe. This is evil. And we're backing it because of evangelicals, make no mistake. Because no secular American wants to continue funding this. And in fact, a lot of nominally religious Americans don't want to continue funding this. But we are complicit. We have participated as a country in a genocide. The evidence is overwhelming. 90% civilian death rate, destroying hospitals, destroying access to clean drinking water, killing civilians for trying to get aid. There are endless pages on Euromed Monitor. Pictures, reports, valid information. How many pictures do you need? Here's the article. This is back from December 3rd, and we're, 6 weeks out from that. In a new statement following the revelation that the United States has supplied Israel with 100 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs since the start of Israel's genocide in the Gaza Strip, Euromed Human Rights Monitor condemned the U.S. action. The aforementioned weapons are a fortification-piercing bombs with a warhead that is known for its ability to deeply penetrate fortified structures before detonating and cause significant casualties among civilians. As such, their use is strictly forbidden in civilian and residential areas, Euromed Monitor said. Since Israel began its genocide on the Gaza on 7th of October, the U.S. has been involved in providing Israel with additional offensive weapons and ammunition, including at least 15,000 bombs and 57,000 artillery shells. Given the extent of the war crimes being committed by Israel in the Strip, the airlift of billions of dollars in ammunition, particularly on C-17 military cargo planes traveling from the U.S. to Israel, raises serious questions about the legitimacy of the flow of weapons during this time. Although the quantity and type of weaponry that Washington transfers to Israel has not publicly disclosed, there have been reports of over 5,000 ungated Mk-82 bombs, over 5,500 bombs with 2,000-pound Mk-84 warheads, approximately 1,000 GBU-39 small diameter bombs, and about 3,000 JDAM bombs. It's our bombs. We stand with Israel. 39 senators voted to not even look at it. I don't even want to look at the report. Don't even want to report. Most of the votes were Democrats, at least, of the ones that did want to look at this. And Rand Paul. The one Republican with half a brain sometimes. Drinking water. Restricting access to drinking water. Blowing up people trying to get humanitarian aid. And bombing civilian residential areas. The facilities that have been targeted by Israel during its ongoing attacks include 320 schools, 1,671 industrial facilities, 183 health facilities, including 23 hospitals, 59 clinics, and 92 ambulances, 239 mosques, 3 churches, and 170 press offices. Hospitals, clinics, ambulances. Why is this not being taken more seriously? Why are we talking about anything else? You think this coming election is about Biden and Trump? It's never been about that. The religious right back Trump. And they support this. And they're everywhere. And as long as we aren't brave enough and gutsy enough to finally come to our senses after all these years and be bold enough to say, I condemn stupid, irrational beliefs in God once and for all, and I'm going to make fun of somebody and ridicule them publicly for bad beliefs. I don't give a damn about what you think freedom of religion is. It is not freedom from criticism of your religion. Because if this is your religion, it deserves to be ridiculed and criticized, and you don't deserve any kind of freedom to do this. This is horrendous. And there are Christian people right now in your circle defending this. It won't be that hard to look for them. It won't be that hard to find them. Have the courage of your convictions. Dare to criticize something that deserves to be criticized. I don't even have to go into the arguments that I normally go into about this. This speaks for itself. If I was on speaking terms with my mother, I'd ask her, is this the kingdom of God? Potential nuclear war in the Middle East, a powder keg, genocide, mass murder and death of each other. Is this what building the kingdom of God is on the foundation of innocent civilian bodies? Is that how we make it? Because if so, I'll take hell. I won't stand this. I'll go straight there. Iran and Pakistan being in tension puts the entire world at nuclear risk, which we were already at risk because of Russia and Ukraine. By the way, Russia is a Christian orthodoxy, if you didn't know that. Devout Catholic country. Might be condemned. Their actions, their offensive actions might be condemned by the current pope, who seems to be pretty cool most of the time. He actually seems to be one of the more respectable popes that's ever been. But doesn't matter, because what matters is the personal belief that gives people divine permission to behave in this way. They think they're God's hand here on earth. They think they have divine permission. And we've given them that permission by failing to have the courage to have these conversations in public where people can hear them, to ridicule ridiculous belief as ridiculous. And it is ridiculous. Fairy tales we've been holding on to since the Iron Age are going to kill us with modern age weapons if we don't do something about it. And no one on the media is bothering to paint this as the picture that they should, which is this is a religious sectarian conflict. And it has endlessly been a religious sectarian conflict. And it won't stop. And why won't it stop? Because you can't stop when you believe you have divine permission. God gave you a mission. It's my holy right to kill innocent people. Good luck. You try to argue with a person. You try to talk reason into a person that believes that. I dare you. We have to talk reason into them before they're homicidal. When they're just popping off about how the universe was created. And why they think ethics come from a God. That's where we have to win the argument. Before we get here. Before we get here. It's not a joke. We are scary close, okay, to tomorrow not even being able to have this conversation. We've never been closer to not even being able to have this conversation. So let's have it while we can have it. And let's, for fuck's sakes, once and for all, kill God. That's what I got.